Hey, is it crazy that you talk normal and then the minute the camera's on you, you start stuttering?
Yeah. Tell me about it. What's going on, Faded Culture? It's Sergio Barron, and we're back again with another haircut tutorial. Today I got my boy Zayden here on the chair, and I'm gonna be breaking down my step-by-step process on how to do a mid-drop fade with the 3.5 guard going with the grain. I hope y'all guys enjoy this tutorial. If y'all do, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel so y'all can check out the rest of the videos that we have on this channel. And also don't forget to visit fadedculture.co so y'all can check out the merch that we have, our hats, t-shirts, barber capes, and our straight razors. So with that being said, guys, let's just jump right into this tutorial. Alright guys, so to start he wanted a number 3 guard with a lever open on top, but like I said, we're gonna run this guard with the grain. So first I'm gonna locate the swirl, and all I'm gonna do is cut with the direction that the hair grows, but starting from the swirl outwards as you see here. So I'll start from the back and then work my way off to the sides and then just all the way towards the front. And we're gonna repeat this process several times over the top until we get a clean, consistent, smooth cut throughout the whole top. And next I'm gonna close the lever on the clipper all the way down to a 0 to lay down my first guideline. I'm gonna make sure that it starts at the temple peak, and then I'm gonna make sure that it slants as I reach the back of his head, going downwards, and then we're just gonna make sure that it meets up at the opposite side at the same spot at the other temple peak area. Then once you have ensured that this line is straight from the front and the back of his head, I'm gonna go ahead and open that lever all the way open to a half on the clipper, and I'm gonna lay down my next guideline coming up about a ½ inch or about a finger in width. And then I'm gonna just make sure that this next guideline runs parallel, making sure that it's as straight as the previous guideline all the way around. And a quick reminder guys that I will leave all these steps written down in written format for y'all down in the description, so go ahead and check that out. Next I'm gonna throw on the number 1 guard, still keeping that lever all the way open for our next guideline. Again, just like before, we're gonna come up about another finger in width or another ½ inch in width up high, and again just making sure that it flows parallel to the previous 2 guidelines that we set. Keep in mind guys that my client really does have pretty thick hair, so when it comes to setting in and blending out his guidelines, it's gonna take a little longer than usual when you're working with thick hair. So next I'm gonna grab the number 2 guard with that lever all the way open still, and we're just gonna come up about another ½ inch. This is the area about where the head starts to round out, so we're just gonna make sure that we're not digging the clipper too much into the top, and just kind of think of his head being a square shape, and we're just kind of pulling the guard out vertically as we reach the top of that ½ inch. Then after that, we're just gonna continue the process, but next I'm throwing on the 3 guard still with that lever all the way open. And again guys, just to remind y'all, I'm gonna focus or lay down the comb here just so y'all can kind of have a reference as to kind of the direction that I'm taking the clipper. But again, we're only gonna come up about another ½ inch from where we previously were, and go all around the head, trying to connect the side length to the top length. Then after that, all that's left is to kind of clipper over comb anything else that's left to connect. So all I'm doing is combing in and out vertically that comb so that I can cut anything that hangs out the comb so that we can connect the side to the top length as smooth as possible. And after this, we're pretty much ready to start blending out our guidelines. You'll notice that we have our top guideline, then we have our middle guideline, and then we have our last bottom guideline. We'll start from the top and then work our way down. For the top one, I'm gonna use that 1.5 clip, and I'm gonna position the lever to 3/4. And all that spot is the lever position in between being all the way open and halfway closed. Then I'm gonna just maneuver the clipper in several little different kind of angles, using more so the corner of the clipper to kind of get in there and detail that top guideline out as much as possible. Next, I'm gonna throw on the half clip and I'm gonna still leave that lever at 3/4. This time we're gonna start attacking that middle guideline. Again, like before, just using more so the corner of the clipper to get in there in that detailed fashion and blend out that middle guideline as much as possible. Just notice that this guard won't completely take out this middle guideline. It's gonna kind of create some dark areas above, but that's okay. We'll come back in a little bit with the higher guard to finish blending it out. So for now, just start at blending out the initial start of this guideline as much as possible. So next, like I said, I'm gonna throw on the number 1 guard, still leaving that lever on that 3/4 spot, and I'm gonna just continue blending that middle guideline until we finish connecting it to the rest of the blend. And just keep note, guys, that if you feel like the clipper ain't blending or doing much cutting with that lever position at 3/4, it may be our clippers are set up a little different, so then just close that lever a tad bit at a time until you feel the clipper actually doing some cutting. But that lever at 3/4 is a good spot to kind of give you a good idea of where the lever should be. And now next we have our last guideline to blend out. This last guideline takes 4 lever positions. So first I open it a tad bit, then I open it halfway, then to 3/4, and then all the way open. So these 4 lever positions, but gradually opening it up as I move up into that line. So first, as you see, I started with the lever opened a little bit from being closed. Then here I opened it halfway, continue blending a little higher. Here I opened it to that 3/4 spot, continue blending a little higher, and then I opened it all the way. By this time, you shouldn't do much blending, but you'll just kind of go in there with the corner and kind of just finish connecting the details of that last guideline. You'll also notice that I kind of break down this last guideline into several little sections just because it's that much tedious and it takes longer to blend out. So to not get overwhelmed, you can just break down your last guideline into small sections, and then you'll just kind of blend a little small portion of it at a time until you reach all around the head and that whole line is completely blended out. But again, guys, all we're doing is starting with that lever open a tad bit from it being closed, then I open it halfway, then I open it to 3/4, and then I open it all the way open until that last guideline is for the most part blended out. Anything after that will just be considered some touch-up work, but I'll explain that here in a little bit. So for my touch-up work, I'm gonna throw on the half guard and I'm gonna leave that lever positioned at 3/4, and all I'm gonna do is kind of go around the whole entire fade and kind of look for any little dark areas in the fade and just quickly blend them out. If you feel like here you need to open or close the lever here and there, then go ahead and do so until we have kind of detailed all the dark areas in the fade. But then once that's done, we're gonna come in and start taking out the bottom of the hair. You'll notice that I started with the clipper upside down first, since it leaves it a little broader this way. And then whatever little faint line it creates, I'll just flip it right side back up to blend it out. I do it upside down first because when I come in and take out the rest of the bottom of the hair, you'll be able to distinguish a little faint line, and that's gonna serve as another guideline to show us to how high to come up with our electric shaver. But yeah, then after that, all we're gonna do is come in with our electric shaver, and like I said, guys, once we reach that little faint line, I'm gonna start pulling the shaver outward so that I don't create too much or any hard lines at all into the fade. But if you do so happen to create some little faint lines, then that's all right. We'll just come back in with our trimmer to finish blending it out. So here I'm gonna come in quickly and kind of just blend down his sideburn area into his facial hair. Just kind of using the same technique, open the lever and then set in my guideline and then just come back in and blend it out. And now for the top of his hair, I'm gonna quickly kind of apply some of this wave lotion over the top and kind of rub it in there really well with my hand. And then I'm gonna apply or put on this do-rag really tight on the top, just to kind of help flatten the top of his hair as much as possible. And yeah, so just make sure it's put on there really tight. I'll blow dry a little bit just to kind of start the process of it drying, and then I'll just leave that on while I come in and detail his facial hair. For the facial hair, I'll just kind of detail any little hard lines that I will set in, and kind of just prep the area before I come in with my straight razor and actually start doing the shaving. His beard length was a little uneven as well, so I threw on a number 2 guard with the lever open to kind of quickly come in here and even it up. Then for the bottom, it's always a good idea to kind of recline your client a little bit so you can get a better view of the bottom lineup, and then just go in there and set in your hard line. For the bottom, it's always optional. You could come in here and use a straight razor to shave, or you could kind of just trim it away with your trimmer, and then just come in with your 5-star electric shaver and then just shave out the bottom as much as possible. Then for whatever area I will be using my straight razor on, I'm gonna apply some shaving gel throughout all those areas, and then I'll also spray some water on top just to kind of help preserve the life of that shaving gel before actually doing some shaving. Then I'll load a razor into our very own Faded Culture matte black Turkish razor. If y'all would like to purchase one, feel free to check them out at fadedculture.co. But then when I actually start shaving, I like to tug on the skin with my opposite hand just to create tension and help that blade guide a little more effortlessly. And then I'll just kind of start by shaving most of the hair down, and then before actually start shaving against my hard lines. And then anything else that's above the hard line, I will reverse shave just to kind of get a deeper shave and help that shave last a little longer. But make sure that you're always having your client help you get in those tough areas by having him put his tongue in little areas to push out his skin, or help expose areas that are kind of difficult to get into. But for those that ain't too confident with working with a straight razor, be sure that you use the actual razor and practice on somebody's head without an actual razor loaded in the straight razor. That way you could kind of just get your practice in until you build that confidence to actually throw on a straight razor. I mean, a razor on the straight razor holder. By this time, the top of the head should be completely dry, so I'll go ahead and take off the do-rag so we can start doing the lineup on his forehead. For the forehead, I'll kind of take a step back and kind of visualize the lineup where I want to set it in, and then I'll just start by starting in the middle where I want my first horizontal lineup to be, and then work my way off to the left and right side of his head, creating that box shape and vertical lines on the side as clean as possible. And then just like on his facial hair, I'll apply some shaving gel and then just come in with my straight razor and shave out everything till it's nice and sharp. And now this last part is optional, but if y'all do decide to apply some enhancements, just mix equal parts of dye with water into a portable airbrush gun, and then just get a business card or something to lightly apply them on the edges to help that lineup pop a little harder. But yeah, after this, I'll just quickly blow dry my client really well to finish the haircut. But really quick guys, here's the before in case y'all forgot what he looked like before he came in and sat in my chair. Here's the after. I hope y'all guys really enjoyed this tutorial on a mid-drop fade with the 3.5 guard going with the grain on top. If y'all did, please guys don't forget to give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments what y'all did or didn't like about the video, or also some suggestions about what other tutorials we should drop on this channel. But again guys, thank y'all so much for watching. My name is Sergio Barron and this is Faded Culture, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.